guys. Miss Young here. I have missed you guys all so much. I'm so happy that I get to read to you a little bit today. Today I'm going to read to you from the collected works of Gretchen Oyster because I know we haven't finished. And I think that we are on chapter 13. It's called Hello Cheese. And the last time when we left off, Mrs. Gorham was asking Hartley to consider writing his paper, remember his final project. I'll read you the last paragraph of the last chapter. Mrs. Gorham looked across the desk at me, and her eyes filled with tears. She reached out and put her hand on mine. You're really something, Hartley Staples, and I'm honored to know you. A tear ran through the chalk smudge on her cheek. I waited until she took her hand away, and then I got up and left the classroom. I was so shocked by Mrs. Gorham crying that I forgot to pick up George. I had to turn around again. I was really something, all right. Chapter 13, Hello Cheese. Our walk home from school was even slower than usual. It had become windy, but it wasn't the wind holding us back. George had learned about four-leaf clovers from another kid and insisted on searching every patch of grass to find one. I finally had to find a three-leaf clover and then split one of the tiny leaves in half to make it look like a four-leaf. And then I had to steer George toward it. I found one! I found one, George sang, and he held it up and danced around. I wish for a pet elephant. I wish that I had rocket boosters on my feet. I wish that when I burped, a diamond came up. The wind blew the clover out of his hand. Oh, George cried, chasing after it, but the clover was gone. George walked with his head down as if he had just lost $1 million on the stock market. But he was quiet, and I got to thinking about Gio. It wasn't as if she was some great artist. Were cards even art? Or a great poet? Were the words poetry? Or a great philosopher either. She was just a teenager with blue hair making weird little cards that probably nobody cared about. Nobody but me, anyway. Maybe I envied G.O. because she had something she liked doing, that she felt passionate about, to use Mrs. Gorham's word. I bet G.O. hadn't had any trouble coming up with her final project when she was in 8th grade. At last we reached our front door. Mom was working from home today and put out a snack of carrot sticks and squares of cheddar cheese. Snacks always cheered up George. He had begun to make his food talk. Hello, Kurt. Hello, cheese. Hey, we're both orange. Let's get married. It wasn't exactly Shakespeare, but Mom and I laughed. I turned my head to watch some leaves blowing past the kitchen window. The wind blew all my laundry off the line, Mom said. More leaves flew by, a couple of birds. A card. Yes, a card. I was sure of it, doing somersaults in the air. I pushed my chair back and ran. Back in a sec. Can I eat your cheese, George asked. Don't go outside without your shoes, Mom called. But I didn't have time for shoes. I threw open the front door and ran out in my socks. The wind was stronger now, making the leaves rattle on the trees. I looked up and down and I didn't see any card. A plastic shopping bag rose up in the sky. I followed it with my eyes as it made a loop and loop and then came twisting down to the road. It skidded along until it was caught against the curb. And there the card was beside it. Leaping, I landed on a stone and yelped. I had to hop the rest of the way, but I got to the curb and snatched up the card. I hurried back into the house. You're going to have to learn to darn your own socks, Mom called from the kitchen. Heather was coming down the stairs. Nobody darns socks anymore, she said, not even nerds like Hartley. I rushed past her to get to my own room, closed the door, went to the desk, turned on the light, put down the card. I thought that the dog looked friendly, a lot more friendly than the Doberman Pinscher that lived down the street and always chased me on my bike. Maybe the dog on the card understood me too. Maybe he'd understand why I couldn't come up with a topic for my final project. This one was number 5, so I hadn't missed another one. Now I took out the metal box and laid all the cards on the desk. It was like having my own little art gallery. I put them back in the box and put the box in the drawer. It felt good to have found another one, really good, but I still wanted to know something about G.O. I knew she was a teenage girl who lived around here. That meant she went to high school, the same high school as my sister Heather. Maybe Heather knew who G.O. was. I think we may have read this, but it was so long ago, so maybe we're catching up. The next chapter is chapter 14, and it's called The Room. And I will see you then.